Won't you take me for a ride? I will love the feeling of the wind in my hair while it's beating. On the highway down by the sea, we go on and on and on.
Good morning, iFam. So today I thought I would do a little sit down chatty video about my birth story, basically. I know that you guys obviously got to see the birth video, but there's bits and things that obviously didn't get filmed, and I just want to talk through everything just so that I've also got it for like memories and things. I didn't do one of these with Jace, and I remember really regretting it afterwards because I kind of thought, oh, but it's all vlogged, but in reality not everything does get vlogged, and so I want to make sure I remember everything. Also, lots of people have asked certain questions about things that weren't in the vlog, so I thought it'd be nice. I know lots of you guys love like our full-on daily vlogs, but quite a lot of you also like sit down chatty ones too. So I thought today I'd do that. Chris is going to come and join me when he's finished pottering. Basically, as you guys know, I went into labour at 39 weeks and 1 day. So my first ever early baby. Never had an early baby before. In fact, all of my babies have been way overdue, except Isla. She was 4 days late, but I was induced with Isla. And Isla is my only other fast labour, like super fast. And when I'm thinking back, Isla's labour was probably faster than Mila's, but I was induced with Isla. Midnight, she was born at 2:52. I had nothing at midnight, and then she was born at 2:52. But like I said, I was induced, so that's probably why. Mila's labour from start to finish was probably, started getting niggles. It was probably around like 10, 11. And then at about midnight is when I fully knew these are not Braxton Hicks, this is actual labour. This was at around midnight. I came down and told Chris, and then we just waited around for a little bit. Chris made me a cup of tea. So I have a cup of tea, like maybe that'll make everything okay. And we decided to head to hospital at around 1. We got everything together, and by the time we did that and got up to hospital, it was 2 a.m. and then she was born at 3:45. So by the time I got to hospital at 2, was I 7 centimetres? Chris has got all the times and everything. It was 7 centimetres. I cannot believe that I was 7 centimetres when I got to hospital. I was so chuffed. I asked for the pool, the birthing pool, as soon as we got in there. I said, do you have the birthing pool? And the midwife was like, yeah, we do, but we're just gonna check you over first. And by the time she checked me, I was on fire. That place was so hot. It was unreal. And the thought of going in like a warm or hot, well, it wouldn't have been hot, but it would have been relatively warm, because obviously they have to have it at a certain temperature for when the baby's born. I was like, no, I want air conditioning blasting in my face. I don't want to be in a warm pool. I want the epidural. Changed my mind, I want the epidural. Not the main reason, but a fear that I had was that with all my previous pregnancies, I got a second-degree tear, and the thought of having a second-degree tear without an epidural and feeling that happen terrified me. I know I've spoke about this before, but it terrified me. And so people were saying when you're in the pool, that's less likely to happen, and when you've not had the epidural, it's less likely to happen because you're more in control of your body and you push, you know when to push, and etc. But the fear overtook me in that moment, and I was like, I need the epidural. We kind of knew I weren't going to get it, because the midwife was like, you wanted to go in the pool 10 minutes ago. I don't think you need the epidural. And I was like, I do. I knew they wouldn't be able to cannulate me. Like, I knew they wouldn't be able to. So I think, did they call for the doctor? Okay, Chris is joined now because he knows the times more than I do. He's got them on his phone. So they called for a doctor, right, to come do the cannula. And I'm not joking, you guys. I've never felt pain like I felt with this cannula. I kept saying to them, I need a child one. I need a small one. They kept bringing these big beastie things. And you know, the most pain I've got pre-delivery is from the cannula. Like this arm. Post-delivery. Oh yeah, post-delivery. This arm, I can barely move it, especially when Mila's feeding and I'm holding her on this arm. Like the pain here is so immense. I don't know what they've done. They must have damaged something. The bruising's going down now, but the cannula was tried to be put in here, and there is a bit of a bruise there. I don't know what all this bruising up here is about, but it was all from that bruise around here, and at the time I could feel her going like this over and over and over and over. But because I was on gas and air, I was telling myself, ignore it, it's not happening. Because that's what happened with one of the other births. And that wasn't happening. I thought she was using an axe to saw off my hand. because the gas and air sent me a bit crazy. And obviously she wasn't. But I thought when she was doing that and I could feel the pain going, choo, 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 I was thinking to myself, she's not doing that, ignore her. It's the gas and air sending you crazy. But it turns out it wasn't the gas and air sending me crazy. She was legitimately doing that, wasn't she? Chris said, I don't know what she was doing with
She
your
just
cannula.
couldn't get your vein, so she was just pulling the cannula in and out, in and out,
In and out. The same one or different ones?
No,
it was the same one because it was straight away. It was like...
She was trying to flush it through.
It was going through. Oh my gosh, it was disgusting. Anyway...
So your waters broke, so you were 7 centimetres at 2:26, and then 4 minutes later your waters broke at 2:30.
Oh my gosh. So I've never felt... My waters with all 3 girls broke before I went into labour. So they all broke and then I started getting contractions and they never gushed. So no gush, nothing like that. It was just a tiny trickle with every contraction. That's what I've always had. With Jace, they broke my waters in labour, didn't they?
Yeah.
So they used one of the little hook things and broke my waters. With Mila, 20 minutes after arriving at hospital, I just got this massive contraction and this massive gush. And I was on gas and air. And I can remember saying, it's hot, it's hot.
Yeah, you kept
because
saying
it
that, yeah.
shocked me on how warm it was. I felt like I was crawling into a bath. And then the midwife was like, what do you mean it's hot? And I'm like, I don't know.
So at this point, I knew from the way the midwife was talking that Sarah was not getting the epidural. She'd obviously asked for it because she'd always had the epidural in every other labour, and she was in a lot of pain at this point on gas and air. So she was asking for it, but the midwife was like, she was using like really like obvious delay tactics. So she was kind of like,
We need to wait for your blood results
yeah,
to come back.
it's not just, I guess, to be fair, most people that hadn't worked in like a medical profession or whatever or field before, like I have, wouldn't maybe pick up on this as much. But she said, so she first of all said that we need to check you, which was fine, that was legit fine, that was all good. We need to check you, and then we need to get a cannula and do your bloods, and then we call the anaesthetist. So I was like, okay. I was like, I just got a vibe that she wasn't going to get it. I knew things were progressing fast, but even so, I just had a vibe that the midwife was she was totally lovely, by the way. I'm not saying anything bad against this midwife. She was amazing. Like, we loved her. She was awesome.
I mean, the first thing she said to me when I said I want the epidural is, you don't.
No, she was just,
Okay.
she was just like, you know, this like kind of like old school midwife. Like she was definitely pro no
Yeah.
epidural.
Pro, you can do this, girl.
Yeah, which is great, you know,
Which is
whatever, it's good.
And I'm
you
so
know.
glad as well.
But to be fair though, I don't agree with that type of attitude. If you want the epidural in labour, you should be able to get it. Like, no messing about, no, oh yeah, come on, well, you can do it. You get it. If you want it, you should be able to get it. Simple as, you know. If you want the epidural, you should be allowed it. End of story. No pressure in the opposite direction. I don't agree with that whatsoever. So I was kind of like, I had my backup like instantly ready to be Sarah's like advocate and get her the epidural, because that's how it's been in every other labour. I've always felt like I've had to do that. Apart from in Jace's, the midwife was sound. So I said about the epidural, she got it. She got it straight. She organised it immediately. No issues whatsoever. But every other one, I've always had to be like, come on, where's the epidural? What are we doing? Come on, let's get started. So I was ready for her with this one. And so I was like, okay, I'll just let that one slide. I'll let her do a cannula. I'll let her do all that. So she got a doctor to come and do the cannula. She couldn't do it, like Sarah just said. And then she had to call for the obstetrics registrar to come and do the cannula because he was the next step up because no one else could do it. So and then when he arrived, I was like, okay, right. So Sarah was constantly like, can I get the epidural? Have you asked the anaesthetist to come yet or whatever? And the student midwife that was with us said, shall I go? I'll go bleep the anaesthetist for you to our midwife. And the midwife said
no.
The midwife said, no, I'll do it.
She went, no, I'll go.
I'll do it once we've got the blood results back. And I was like, hey mate, what are you on about when we've got the blood results back? We don't need to be checking blood results before we bleep the anaesthetist to come and get the epidural. And then she said, so I called her on it, and she said something along the lines of, she kind of, you know, like when someone's like kind of like trying to make like sort of chat something on the spot.
It might be new protocol though. You don't know.
It might be new. The only thing I thought of is maybe there's new protocol if people have had the vaccine and stuff like that to do with clotting and platelets and stuff, because that's what she was referring to.
Yeah.
So maybe there is, I don't know. But it kind of like it smelled like a bit like as if she was trying to make something up on the spot because I'd called her out on it.
And then I said to the student, I'm like, no, you go. And she's looking at me like, oh, I can't now. My midwife's my boss and she's just told me I can't.
Yeah. So I called her on it. I said, why? That's not standard protocol. Why are we waiting for bloods to come back before we even bleep the anaesthetist to come and get her organised for an epidural? You know, this is going fast. We need to be doing this now. And she was, so like I said, she kind of like stuttered a bit and said something on the spot.
But you said it in a nice way.
Yeah, I didn't say it in a nasty. No, I didn't say it in a nasty way. No,
and she wasn't being nasty.
No, she wasn't. I was very polite, and she was very polite, and it was all nice and amicable. But it was just. But I was just kind of like in my head. I was just like. Okay.
And then the anaesthetist He examined me again.
No one came. We didn't get anything.
No, I didn't mean anything.
So the obstetrics registrar doctor came. It's a lovely man, and he come in. And he cannulated Sarah, got her all ready, and then he just basically said, "I'm going to examine you now."
Okay.
And then he basically examined Sarah, said she was 10 centimeters at that point, and it's time to push. So no epidural basically.
But at that 10 centimeters,
that was at 3:33. That was
when he examined me at 3:33. It sounds so awful, but I literally almost kicked him in the face. Like I did. I've never felt pain like that. Like I felt like he was putting knives inside me. And he said to me, "Oh, can you feel her moving into a good position? She's I've got my hand on baby's head, my fingers on the baby's head, and she's moving into a great position." I'm like, "Get him out to get you move." And the second he did, what he made some sort of reference to the midwife.
No, he said it's time. He said, "Oh, you're 10 centimeters. There's no time. It's time to push.
Yeah.
Like now." And then so the midwife kind of like stepped up and was like, "Actually, I'm in charge here. I'll decide when we push, and we're going to start pushing in a minute when I'm ready."
Did she?
Well, yeah, that's basically what she said to the
I didn't realise that. I knew something was going on at that point, and someone was saying push, and then someone was saying no, don't, and I was like, I'm not pushing. My body is doing it all.
So
I can't not. My body completely. I've never felt a feeling like it my whole life. I couldn't control my voice. I've been quite silent in all my labours. Obviously, you guys have seen.
Silent in this one as well. Oh,
they've seen it.
My! What is that boy doing?
Oh, what happened to your little mush, darling? You eating ice cream?
Oh dear.
Okay, I've never ever screamed and felt pain like I did in Mila's labour, and it was so weird and such a bizarre feeling because it's something that I had zero control over. Like I had no control over what my body was doing, had no control how I was tensing up and pushing. I wasn't even pushing, my body was just doing it. I had no control over the shouting and the noise. It was the most bizarre feeling.
Anyway, so it's a little bit chaotic whilst they got all like ready for Sarah to start pushing, but then this happened all really fast, and then the doctor left, and
it was like 9 minutes.
Just the midwife, yeah, to when she was
when
here.
He said she can start pushing, the midwife said no, she'll start when we're ready. But then 9 minutes later, she was born.
Yeah, something like that. It was really quick, right?
Like
so the doctor went, and then the midwife obviously took over with the student midwife, and that was it. And then I think you guys saw the rest, the bit of the video between when Mila came out and like the whole minutes before then. I didn't want to cut any of that video out. I wanted the full pushing to be in like a raw video. So you pretty much saw everything that happened from then to the end, basically.
Yeah. So then she was born, and everything was fabulous. The only thing I cared about was, did I tear? Did I have a torn? Did I tear?
No, I felt really bad for you because you weren't. You were really worried initially about bleeding.
I don't know why.
We probably watched too many hospital programs, documentaries in the last.
I don't know why. No, it's always been a fear of like, because you hear like of women that can bleed a lot during childbirth, and I think I've just read up stories and watched too many things on that, and I was convinced that was going to happen, and so I got the injection to make the placenta come away, and it took ages, didn't it? Like, the student midwife kept like pulling on the cord. We waited for the cord to stop pulsating before Chris cut it, but then she kept like pulling on the cord, but the placenta clearly wasn't detached at that point, but she kept pulling, and it was such an awful feeling, and I just kept envisioning she's going to pull it and loads of it, I'm just going to bleed out, and I was terrified at that moment. I don't know why. I
kept reassuring her that it's all good, you're not bleeding.
And I kept saying, I'm bleeding, go and have a look, is blood coming out, go and look. Chris kept going and having a look, going, no, it's fine, it's normal, and I'm going, I can feel something, go check. Eventually, obviously, the placenta came away, and I delivered that, and I obviously didn't bleed out. And then
the stitches.
And then I was terrified that I'd torn, because obviously I felt the pain when I was delivering her, but what terrified me even more was having stitches without the epidural. And when she said, in fact, I think I said on the video, have I torn? And she said, we don't know yet.
Yeah,
I did, didn't I? And so she starts examining me, and she's like, you've got a few grazes here, and you've got a few grazes there. And I'm like, here and there. And she goes, where you wee from? And I'm like, okay, is that everything? And she went, unfortunately, you have got quite a substantial tear, so it's definitely going to require stitches. And I'm like, no. And I was like, oh my gosh, I've just been through all of this childbirth ordeal, and now I'm going to have to lay here and be stitched. And
to be fair, it did look really brutal for you. Like she did nothing wrong. She was amazing, the midwife. Don't get me wrong. It's just obviously Sarah's. I watched Sarah's reactions every time she like.
Because I could feel it.
Put a needle in her or whatever, and it was. I felt really sorry for her. Like you could tell you were really badly in pain.
So I got. She said keep the gas in there because the local anaesthetic. I mean, I felt like she'd come out with a needle like this. Like we're just gonna give you this in your tear. Obviously, it was actually like this big, but in my mind, I was like. I cannot even, and the pain when she put it in, and she's like, I'm gonna have to go quite deep. You know, you play it up in your head more, don't you, when they're describing it as well. I was like, oh my gosh, and then she's like, okay, can you feel this? Can you feel this? Just to check I was numb. But then when she started, I was like, oh no, I can feel that it's nipping. And she's like, okay, I'm gonna give you some more anaesthetic, and it was just awful. Just the feeling was just. So I was very glad when that was done, but it took a while, didn't it? I was like, do I definitely need more? She's like, I might be able to get away with just putting 2 here. She was like on the outside, because obviously I needed them on the inside for the muscle as well. Nice.
This video straight up needs a TMI warning.
It's a birth video, babe. So yeah, so that was painful, and then. After that, everything was just great, wasn't it?
Proper chill.
Everything
really
was
nice.
Chilled after that. Chris went home.
We got our tea and toast.
Yeah.
Oh, no, it was a while. I didn't go home until 8 in the morning.
No, it was later.
8:30.
9. It was 9
like that,
because it was about 8:30, 9 because we wanted to get her dressed together and weigh her because she didn't get weighed for like 5 or 6 hours. Did she?
It was a while. Yeah, you had that. So Sarah had this infusion going on for 4 hours afterwards. And
that was
ages. So that took us till about 8 when that was finished.
Yeah, and that was basically to stop. So I needed cannulating anyway. That was my point about the cannula. Is that I needed cannulating anyway because I had to have this 4-hour infusion, which is basically because I'm on baby because we have 5 children, and this was baby number 5, and it's to reduce the risk of you bleeding. That's probably why it put the fear in me thinking about it. She's like, it's to reduce the risk of you bleeding too heavily.
Yeah.
So that's probably why, yeah. But then Chris went home about 8:30. I think I only had about half an hour on delivery suite, and then I got moved up to the ward, which was so nice because it was cool up there. And the heat in delivery. The heat, babe. Do you remember the heat?
Yeah, it almost killed me, put me to sleep. I felt like
so hot.
I didn't want to like complain at the time or anything because obviously Sarah had just bossed it and done all that work all night, and I just stood there and did whatever. But when it got to about 6:30, I suddenly I was so past tired. I could like even keep my eyes open and don't matter what I was doing to myself. I was just like my head was just like.
I was like, you need to go to sleep. And he's like, can you go to sleep then? I'm like, no, I can't. And my body's like pumping adrenaline here, there and everywhere. I'm wide awake. I'm absolutely buzzing. I can't. But if you're tired, go to sleep. And he's like,
it's not just
no,
that.
it's not fair.
I take this medication from I think called restless leg syndrome that I've got. And it makes you feel horrifically tired. But also when you don't take them, you kind of withdraw from them. So your body notices you've not taken them and you feel the same symptoms. And obviously because I've been up all night, I hadn't taken them because I only take them when I'm going to sleep.
Because they make you sleepy.
They make you feel like, not every time, but they make you feel so tired that you physically feel sick from feeling that tired. So I take them last minute before I go to bed. But because I hadn't taken them, I started to feel really bad at about 6:30. So yeah, I just basically needed to go home and have like an hour where I just catched up on like an hour worth of sleep, which is what I did. I got about 40 minutes when I got back. Once I'd got back in the morning and had like some special time with the girls and Jason and stuff, telling them all the stories and whatnot, and we had builders here as well. Oh, sorry, babe.
We had the patio guys back here basically doing some work on the patio, so Chris got about 40 minutes. Everything was just great after that. Mila latched on and fed like an absolute trooper. I did have a tiny bit of trouble when I'd got up to the ward. I think it's because she was really sleepy after the labour, but she didn't feed for about 6 or 7 hours. No, probably longer actually. And the midwives kept coming in and saying you can't let go longer than 3 hours. So I was stripping her down, I was taking her nappy off, and it was really stressing me out. I was like, I really want to go home, and obviously if she's not latching, they might have kept me in. I didn't want to stay in because the girls can't come and visit because of COVID, so I didn't want them to be at home and not be able to meet the baby, etc. So I ended up hand expressing into some syringes that they gave me. I'm so thankful that I started doing that like a week earlier, because I didn't do that with any of the other children, and I taught myself how to do it, and I'd been doing it, so I knew what I was doing. I think I would have totally freaked out had I not practiced doing that in that moment in hospital. She is starting to stir, so I'm going to wrap this up. But just to finish off that part of the story, I expressed into a little tiny cup, a little sterile cup they gave me, sucked it up with a syringe and just fed her with the syringe. And as soon as I did that, I think it just kind of gave her the taste or something, and then she latched on. So I was so grateful, so thankful that it worked. And since then, she's fed like an absolute trooper. I know a lot of you guys have been asking like, how's she feeding? Does she have tongue tie? I can't believe how easy this is. Like, you guys know how much I struggled breastfeeding Jace. She's a dream, an absolute dream. I've got no supply issues whatsoever. Like, she is guzzling. Like, sometimes she's like, and she can't even take it down as quick as it's coming out. And then, see the poo-poo? Sorry guys, 2 seconds. Mid helping Jace on the toilet, little one starts screaming. They all need your attention at the same time. Hello, princess. You wanna say hi? Say hi, guys. Just woke up and I'm so sleepy. She's so sweet. You look just like Esme to me. Everyone says Isla and Jace, but I see so much of Esme in her. Obviously, you guys didn't see Esme as a newborn, but she honestly looks so much like Esme did. You're so precious. Yes, you are. So feeding's going amazing. And I know her latch is really good as well because I've had zero pain at all. And I was trying to remember when the pain started with Jace, because obviously I needed to use shields with him for quite a few weeks. And I kept saying maybe it's still to come. Maybe I just forgot that it took a while to start, but I honestly don't think it did. And she's a week old now and there's been zero pain at all. So I think you're just a little pro, sweetheart. I think you're just a little pro at this feeding, Malaki. I'm gonna go get her changed and give her a feed now, because this sleep suit she's got on, don't know if you guys can see, but the zip is really, it's a little bit big for her. And the zip, oh, I feel like it's sticking in her neck. Right, I'm gonna end this vlog video here. I hope you guys enjoyed it. We'll be back tomorrow with a daily vlog, and we'll see you guys then. Good night, guys.